1995 NHRA Winston Drag Racing champions like Pro Stock motorcycle winner John Myers, the professor of Pro Stock Warren Johnson, two-time Winston Top Fuel champ Scott Coletta, and five-time champion the irrepressible John Force had one thing on their minds: could they repeat in 96? Or would Cruz Pedregon regain his form of 92 and upset Force? Would Kenny Bernstein again be the king of speed? In the next 2 hours, you're going to find out. Welcome, everybody, to Drag Racing 96. I'm Steve Evans.
And I'm Bob Fry. And where are all the fans? Probably home watching their copy of Drag Racing 96. Highlights of a magical season, Steve.
Well, the reason the seats were empty, Bob, this was Firebird Raceway before the season ever started. Only our cameras were allowed. Tony Pedregon, hired for the John Force team, a second driver in last year's car. How would it run? Oh, just awful. Only a $4.99 at $2.97. What did Tony's brother Cruz think of this?
To have someone like John Force pick my brother to step into his car, it's just like A.J. Foyt or Richard Petty asking someone to take over their operation. And I think my dad used to always tell us, hey, you hang out with the best and you'll be the best. And I think it's a great deal for him, and I'm excited and happy for him.
A.J. Foyt and Richard Petty, I believe, show up later on in the tape. But Forrest, he shows up now.
I'd like to introduce our junior varsity team here. They only ran 4.99. They're a little off pace today.
They weren't off pace for very long. That was a dynamic 1-2 punch in the funny car category this year.
Just a week before the season opener in Pomona, final testing took place at Bakersfield. Was Force feeling threatened by his protege?
I know everything about Cruz now, everything there is to know. Just kidding. But no, he's just a real nice kid, and they come from a background of racers, and he's doing a great job.
Let me give you the inside scoop. The Pedregon's father, a Hall of Famer's nickname was Flamin'. Anything with flames on it is okay with John Force. And as the Pedregons, Tony Cruz and brother Frank watched on, what exactly was the game plan? Why did Force have Tony on the team? What was Tony trying to do in 96?
Oh, I'm here to take out my brother. Got to take out that McDonald's car.
Let the season begin. The Fairplex in Pomona, the Chief, Winter Nationals, Cruz Pedregon in the McDonald's car near lane. A little tired of hearing about his brother, so he hammers out a 4.93, 307 miles an hour, the quickest and fastest ever.
Oh, baby, the McDonald's car serving notice that they are not going to give up without a fight. They won the championship in 1992, and the crowd went wild. At the far end of the racetrack, Steve broke the good news to a very happy Cruz Pedregon.
All right, now, settle down. 493, 307, both ends of the national record.
You got to be kidding me, huh? You know, Steve, this thing's been knocking on the door all day or all weekend, and you know what? No matter how much you win in this sport, this thing will shock you every time. I'm just happy for McDonald's and Joe Gibbs. And how about this crew? These guys are the best. Dave Settles, Lee Beard, everyone. I'm just speechless. This is like winning U.S. Nationals.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he said I'm speechless, and he just gave you about 2 minutes, Steve.
Yeah, 2 minutes from John Force I would call speechless. No one wanted a great start to the season more than Al Hoff, the Western Auto Car. This was round one against Mark Sievers. We'll let the video speak for itself here. Ouch. What happened, obviously, is Severs caught on fire. Al Hoffman thought he saw some arm waving, and he interpreted that as turn here, Al. Big mistake, Bob Fry.
Yeah, it was. Severs down there at the end of the racetrack with a safety safari, as they always are, right on the spot. Now watch this. Here comes Severs' car. Hoffman thinks he's being waved over to pull off the track. Bam! Wow. And to say that Al Hoffman was not happy would be an understatement. Severs' car would be out of competition. Hoffman won the race. Could he return?
You're right. Hoffman was hotter than the body on Mark Severs' car. Funny car, round number 1 still. John Force looking on as his protege, Tony Pedregon, would face Richard Hartman in the car that Tony himself had driven in the previous season.
The Geronimo car in the far lane gave Pedregon a scare. Watch this. More than a scare. Say goodnight, Tony. What a maiden voyage for the Castrol 2 car.
John Forrest knew now that he had to accomplish it all by himself. If Tony was indeed placed in the field as a blocker, he wasn't there anymore. Cruz Pedregon gave it up early. Tire smoke. John Forrest was there for the taking with only a 5:25 at 298.
A tough weekend for Cruz. Big numbers in qualifying, nothing to show for it at the end of the weekend.
This was the last time we would see Gary Clapshaw, the gold car in the far lane. Al Hoffman put him away with a very nice 5:16. The repairs they made to the body held up. 250 miles an hour indicated he had a whole lot more. Clapshaw retired.
For the weekend and for the season, Clapshaw retired. That would set up the final. This is the way we expected to see it all year long. Force and Hoffman, let's get it on, boys.
Force had the advantage at half track, had problems, shut it off. Hoffman wins the Winter Nationals. 5:05 at 3:02, and he said, hey, if you see John, tell him to get used to it.
Well, talk's cheap, and we'll find out if Hoffman could back it up in the next race. What do you say we go east? See y'all in the desert. Geronimo in the near lane. Paula Murphy, and she took that sea in the desert stuff a little bit too literally.
Paula Martin, a native of the Phoenix area, got even more familiar with the flora and the fauna of the Valley of the Sun as she cruised out into the desert. She was fine. The car wasn't badly hurt either.
What did she get more familiar with?
The flora and the fauna.
All right, now in the far lane, watch Al Hoffman. He's going to flora it. A little too much fun or whatever that was. Meanwhile, right down Broadway, Whit Bazemore, 520, 273. I say goodnight, Al.
Then it was John Force in the funny car semis up against a favorite opponent, Kenji Okazaki, the Moon Eyes car. He knows Big Jim Dunn will throw the toolbox at him if he has to. Kenji was headed for about 300 feet. Something went wrong, and Force cruised into the final round at 5:14, 293. Not bad on the Phoenix track.
We checked up with Kenji later. He broke his fauna is what happened on that run. Finals, Castrol car, Kendall car. Take the Castrol car, give the points. And John Force gets the win. It's the first one in quite some time for the 5-time Winston champ, a harbinger of things to come.
Yes, naysayers, there is a traction control device on this Pontiac. It's called John Force, and it's legal.
Hey, this old truck driver, I was starting to think I was pretty old. I ain't won a race, 5 championships, but I ain't won a race in a long time. Castrol and all the boys, Pontiac, Mac 2, I think they're starting to get a little bit worried, but the old Goodyear, she smoked them. I got back on it. She hiked the front end truck. What happened to Etchells?
Doesn't matter. You won it with a 19.
Well, let me tell you, we've needed this, and there's a lot of people like Action supporting us. Fram on Light, we're happy. We love y'all. Finally won us a drag race. Seems like it's been 5 years.
Go have a party for us.
We're going to do it. We're going to get drunk big time. Drink some of that Budweiser and Miller Lite right now. Right? Right on, man. Wouldn't that a hug scare you? Hey, give me a hug. They all got scared, Rana. Oh, darling. You done okay? You bet.
How about that? That's the way the points looked. By the way, just to set the record straight, he hadn't won since Brainerd of the year before, and that's a bigger drought than they've seen out there in the flora and the fauna.
Even his crew approved.
Never happened. I can't believe that. Looks like the driver saved us again.
All right, Forrest, good work, bud. Nice
That's
ride.
video you never saw on network television, just right here. The Gator Nationals, Gainesville, Florida, 3rd race on the NHRA Winston Trail. This was in qualifying. Watch the far lane. Tom Uber, we have liftoff.
One of the very few times in drag racing '96 that John Force was not the focal point of a funny car run on the racetrack. Tom Hoover kind of wishes that he were.
This is the semifinals. Chuck Etchells, Del Worsham. Worsham in the far lane. What a game kid from California. The Auburn Foundry car looked like he had Etchells used up. Never count out Chucky. 5:07 at a huge 305 miles an hour.
A dominant performance with the new Kendall GT Rug Doctor car. Now watch this semifinal. John Force. Or was that Tony Pedregon? Force. It was Pedregon in the other lane. Cruz. Can't tell the players without a program in drag '96.
Programs. Get your programs.
A great final round matchup under the lights at night, just like at Phoenix. The end result, the same thing, right down the boulevard. John Force, look at the numbers. He was already starting to be the dominant single car in the class.
And as we look at the points after the Gator Nationals, notice that Whit Bazemore had snuck into the top 5 with Cruz, Al, Chuck, and John Force all in front of him. Bazemore starting to get some notice. So where do we go next? How about Houston Raceway Park, the Slick 50 Nationals? No, this is not an instant replay. It is, again, Tom Hoover, though, in the near lane, round 1. Oh, Tom, he's 2 for 2 on bodies. Is that a national record, Fry?
Yep, back-to-back races, back-to-back bodies, and he's just kind of along for the ride right about now. Tom Hoover, now try to keep it away from the wall, Tom. I said try to keep it away from the wall. Boy, I hate when they don't listen to you. Hoover would come back and race again, but not a great way to start the '96 season. Steve?
Same as Gainesville. Wheel stand, unlatches the body.
We had a big hitch on it, but what happened there, we both smoked the tires, and when I hit it, all the clutch was in, and man, she's coming up right then. It was too late again.
You okay? You hit the wall pretty good. Like
Bangs are pretty good. The ball wins, but I was on the roll, no steering. I just had to pull along down the wall until she shut off.
That's a veteran.
I still think he looks like Wolfman Jack. That's my own personal opinion. All right, it's the matchup we've all been waiting for. Well, except for the other guys in the funny car class. It's Pedregon, it's Force. It's Pedregon, it's Force.
You got it. The first time the two would meet side by side. Would Tony go in the tank? Would he red light intentionally or shut it off? We were about to find out. Tony, a little short in the clutch department, didn't have much of a launch. Force runs 5:02 at only 273. Tony ran 5:15 over 300 miles an hour, trying to gun the boss down. At the far end, what the heck? I talked to both of them.
You happy, Tony?
Yeah, I'm happy.
I tell you, when that thing started to sputter, his 300 darn near nailed you.
You ran 300? Who's 300?
Yes.
It ran 300.
I was running after you.
Now watch this. Rick Stewart now motions Al Hoffman, who was taking his time staging the race car against Force in the finals. Hoffman and Pomona said, hey, Force, get used to it. Well, he was half right. Somebody better get used to it. Force with an 05 at 294. He picks up win number 2 in a row.
I'm a 46-year-old truck driver still trying to prove myself. Got my kid trying to outrun me, or my driver, and Hoffman parked on me on the start line. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know if he had a problem or what. He wouldn't come in. I was setting that old clutch he was dragging, but what can I say to the folks that pay me? Castrol, Pontiac, Mac Tool, Action Collectibles. We're pretty bad, guys.
They are bad, B-A-D. They're also number 1, O-N-E, and would stay there for the rest of the season. Wow. That's W-O-W.
And our, you scared? Did you have a problem up there?
Yeah, we blew tires off. Oh, you mean staging?
Yeah.
I don't know what was going on. I was trying to get in, and every time I go up there, my brake is different. I didn't want to go in deep.
I was trying to hold the pedal down and started shoving the old foot, and the old foot started vibrating. But anyway, let's go have a beer.
Would have been a good race. Damn thing had gone to the end. We were side by side for a while.
I love it.
I may have to let you.
Except
Nobody else is gonna.
Except every time I kiss him, he always tells the paper it was something different. It makes me look bad.
You can't be kissing.
Everybody, hey, Evans.
And it's his birthday.
This is my hat I won.
April Fool baby. That's his hat he won.
That cat in the hat, John Force. We always have a great time. The Winston Select Invitational, Rockingham, North Carolina, no points, but a lot of money. And Richard Petty was the Grand Marshal.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is the Grand Marshal of this day here, the King himself, Richard Petty.
Nice hat, John. I see a pattern developing. So did Al Hoffman. So did the rest of the funny car drivers see a pattern developing. Great Southern style. Race fans on hand to watch this one.
John Force not embarrassed Richard Petty by kissing his ring. He embarrassed Al Hoffman in the final round, even though he blew a motor about half the bits. Won it with a 5:15 to Al's 5:18.
Hey, Al, oh, well, you know. All right, we go to the Fram Nationals. This would be Tony Pedregon, John Force. This time it's for all the marbles. Would Pedregon lay down? Would he do all that stuff?
Both of them wanted all those marbles, and it was Tony that got the whole sack at 5:10 to John's off-pace 5:31.
That's so cool to watch those guys. The crowd was stunned. They figure, hey, the kid just took out the boss. After that, Pedregon was seen in the pits handing out resumes.
And as John said, I believe I've hired my own assassin. At this point, Tony Pedregon had moved up third in points. John wasn't sure he wanted to run this car all year long. It was an R&D car. He was sure now.
Turned from an R&D car to a running wild car. It was tough. Here's Smokin' Joe's Whit Bazemore. There's that Worsham kid over on the far side of the racetrack. Watch Del Worsham.
This was the Pennzoil Nationals, Richmond, Virginia. Worsham, boy, did he deserve that one. A 5:19, put away Whit's 5:24, and continued to drop Whit in the top 10.
Worsham advanced to the next round. He's in the far lane. Al Hoffman in the near lane. The Auburn Foundry car on the far side. It was an up and down year for the kid.
But the kid won this one on a hole shot. A 5:16 embarrassed Al's 5:14. That hurts.
Into the semis. Hey, here's that Worsham kid against Cruz. Haven't seen much of him since Pomona. Watch the kid.
Ooh, and his luck ran out by a fender and had a bit of a fire to boot. As Cruz went on to the final with a 5:09 to Dell's close 5:20. Still ran a 5:20, sliding in his own oil.
That is one great driver. Little money, and that team could really be a player. Here's a team that lacks for nothing. Great driver, great money. Same for the red car. Classic final, Force and Cruz.
But Force pays a price for this one. Lots of fire, smoke, and parts coming out the back of the car. But John continues to pad his points lead with a 5:07, 285-mile-an-hour blast. And you can see the blower is slightly ascunce.
A sconce. Probably had too much flora in the blower. We go to Englishtown, beautiful downtown New Jersey. My kind of town. Here's those cars again. Semi-final, John Force, right down Broadway, 5:07. Take that. You think he let the kid win once just to sucker him in for the rest of the year?
What do you think Atlanta was all about? E-Town semifinals, Cruz Pedregon, far lane to Pontiac. Near lane was Gary Dencham, the old teacher's pet from Southern California. Force's mentor in his early years, and guess what? His 5:27 would put him against John in the final round.
Gary Dencham's been doing this since the 60s. Not the 1960s, the 60s. That's a long while to be racing. Last guy left standing to try to take out John Force? Nuh-uh. Force with an 08 298, but a great effort by Gary Dencham in the AAA NEC car. That's why we like the sport of drag racing. Guys like Dencham can try to be the giant killers.
And sooner or later, he's going to pull it off. Well, Force was starting to run away from Al. Take that Hoffman, Pedregon, two Pedregons running third and fourth. The battle really all year long from this point on was between those two. Oh, we had a lot of fun in Columbus, Ohio. Got completely rained out. Had to come back the following Saturday to a hot, brutal weekend.
You think it was brutal for the fans, it was brutal for the Castrol cars. Force in the far lane, Edgels actually out-pedals the champ and gets the win. It wasn't an artistic success, but he took John Force out of here in round number 2. For his troubles, he gets the kid in round 3.
He sure did on a less than great racetrack. This was a driver's race. Who had the most nimble right foot to reach the winner's circle. And that proved to be the old match racer Chucky, smoking the tires through the lights, and he would earn a berth in the final round with a 5:36.
He would meet Mark Oswald. Oswald winless on the trail since Englishtown of '94. He beat McEwen here in '84. He beat Bernstein here in '86. Could he beat Chuck Edgels here in '96? Edgels would hate to go away having beaten the Castrol cars and not winning the race.
Chuck Edgels maybe had the run of the day. and a 5:17. That was like a 4-second run anywhere else at 2:87.
We started to feel like we're the Harlem, we're like the guys the Harlem Globetrotters play every week, I mean, like,
Generals, yeah.
Yeah, like we're always getting beat up. I got to say one thing, though, Steve, because Mighty Auto Parts will kill me. We got so many names on this, and we hadn't been to the second round in so long. We started thanking all the sponsors, Totally blew it on them, so. But thanks, Kendall. Thanks, all you guys. We love you.
And there's your trophy.
Congratulations. Thanks for the nice words about Pontiac. You beat two of my guys.
Hey, even the Generals beat the Globetrotters once in a lifetime. And the crew went wild.
Then there was Memphis in June, the Pennzoil Nationals. Only 2 words describe it: hot and humid, hell-like.
There might be 3 words, but anyway, it was the Pedregon boys mixing it up. They actually ran once in '95. You remember that from your Drag Racing '95 tape. First meeting here in '96, and watch what happens.
Oh, they take this so seriously. And Tony won the semifinal round at a 5:29. The Cruz is not far off, 5:32. Well, here they are, the brothers Pedregon, and your first meeting certainly didn't disappoint anybody. Well, maybe Cruz, you won it with a 29.
Well, that's great. I knew it would be a close race, and I got a lot of respect for my brother. I love him, but, there's a war going on out here, and, we're just happy to do it for Castrol, Mac Tools, and Pontiac, all our sponsors.
Did you guys chat a little bit, Cruz, before the race?
No, we're professionals out here. There's no chatting out here. I'm real disappointed there, but they had the better car today, and Tony did a good job out there.
Fine show, gentlemen.
He said it's a war out there. Tony had only won the battle. The war would come in the finals. If you're keeping score, and I know you are at home, it's Force 2. Tony won so far in '96.
With Tony's inexperience, I think the crew is hesitant to give him a lot of clutch. He can't pedal like John does. They hoped John would smoke the tires. He did a little Louie in the middle of the racetrack, but still won it, 5:30 to a 5:55.
Same spots.
Yeah. Anyway, good job.
It's a good weekend.
Good man.
Thanks, Sean.
Let's go to Norwalk, Ohio. Get him again. Where we're going.
Gee, I'm pretty sure that Norwalk, Ohio one isn't on Drag 96. Force stays at the top of the pack, just pulling away. The other guys can see him, but they won't touch him.
We're match racing in Norwalk. That's where we're going. You still on? No. Got a shot of his hat?
We went to Topeka with a heavy heart. NHRA's photo editor for some 30 years, Leslie Lovett, had passed away the previous week of a heart attack doing what he loved best, sport fishing off of the Mexican coast.
He will be missed. Brad Platt from New Jersey on the far side trying to stop John Force. Yeah, right. I got a better chance of hitting the Jersey lottery.
The quickest elapsed time ever, 4:88. Disregard the speed. There was a malfunction, obviously, on the scoreboard, but not on the elapsed time side, 4:88. But Force would have to back it up with 1%. That was just in qualifying. He had 4 runs and eliminations to try to do that.
Force's performance and the numbers that we would see this weekend from the funny cars as impressive as anything we'd ever seen here.
Well, the star of sheer speed, MPH, mile per hour, was Cruz Pedregon. This is round 2 again against his brother Tony. Forget the elapsed time. What we remember was the speed, 310 miles an hour. We thought that was absolutely incredible. Maybe nobody in the world would ever go faster until the semifinal round. Cruz against Mark Oswald.
Poor Mark Oswald always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. The In-N-Out Burger car would give the McDonald's car a shot for about the first 300 feet, but then watch this. This is poetry in motion. 311 miles an hour and our second, oh, baby, of the tape.
Cruz and Force. The fans couldn't have designed a better final. Under the lights, 16 rocket ships. The quickest race ever side by side, 93 to a 94.
We got the win here, and I want to say here tonight, the sponsors, you know who we are. A person we miss out there that's not on the guardrail taking pictures. Leslie Lovett. I wanted to give him 8. I ran into 4s. I wanted to give him 8 of them in a row because that guy, he didn't care about interviews that you gave. He didn't care about the people. All Leslie Lovett cared about was an ET slip. He said, that's what Perdone's after. That's what we went after. We got you 8 of them, Lovett. We love you and we miss you. And I'm pretty excited. This is a great race for all my sponsors, Castrol, Pontiac, Mac Tool, and I wanted that 8 deal. I said, Coyle, don't go record and lose it. Where am I going with this interview? I don't even care.
It was a wonderful thought, John, and we all agree and appreciate it.
We love you, Lovett. That's it.
Steve, you ever get the feeling you're kind of along for the ride on those deals?
Human microphone stand, that's all I am. You know, 311 miles an hour at Topeka was really something. But how about at 6,700 feet in the air? Vandermeer Speedway, the Mopar Parts Mile High Nationals, qualifying Friday night. Huge crowd. Oswald again, far lane. Force, near lane. Maybe the run of the year. 5:04 at 301.
Coming into this race at this track, nobody had ever run 300 miles an hour before. Everybody knew it would happen. They didn't know this would happen.
I don't know if that was driver's error or what it was. I drove out the back door and then I had no vision. I didn't know what happened to me. Maybe even my cockpit flipped up in my face because I was in the dark. Next thing I knew, I looked down the racetrack and I saw these 2 lights. I thought, well, I'm okay. I'm driving to the lights. So them lights were the ones down there, and then I saw the tent or whatever that is and rammed it. Makes me mad.
Those lights, by the way, were in downtown Denver.
Well, Forrest was angry over a little damage to the front end of his car. How must Len Soroka have felt after this qualifying run with Al Hoffman? Doink. And that wasn't all. 8 ball in the corner pocket. Got the entire body front to back. He just peeled it away like a banana. The front end, I don't like the toe in angle. Now the throttle's stuck. All in all, Len, perfect performance.
I'm not the most technically oriented guy in the world, but they're not supposed to do that, are they, Steve?
It needs an alignment, that's for sure.
The fixture we have on a car, we can put weight on the left rear or right rear. And it seemed to pull to the right yesterday a little bit, so we put a little more weight on the left rear, and I guess we went overboard.
The good thing about drag racing, Len Soroka will be back. He'll race again. These guys bounce back, Steve.
Absolutely, and uninjured. That's the important part. In the semifinals, you getting tired of this? Force and Cruz, the fans weren't. We weren't either. They couldn't meet each other enough. But here it was Force again, 5:22 to a 5:32. Cruz was in need of a psychiatrist by the time this was over.
Yep, I'm pretty sure he was getting tired of that. Final round, it's the Oil Boys again. Force remembers Columbus. So do you. We had it earlier here on the tape. Watch it this time. The outcome would be different.
John Force, king of the mountain. 5:22 won it for him to Etchel's 5:43.
That's what I love about him. He don't play games. I was in trouble there. I shook real hard. I hated stepping off the gas, but you know, Castrol, Pontiac, Mac Tool, the boys, that's what they pay us for. Good old hot rod, that Kendall car. We love to race him, and all the people for him online. It's a good old day. And are they watching this live at home? Nope.
Close.
Well, we'll take it. To the ones at home, we love you, and you're why we're here. Here he is.
That was a dandy.
We love them too because they bought our tape. Cool. Force somewhere out there in the stratosphere, and the rest of the boys duking it out for number 2.
Well, John and his crew didn't have too long to celebrate because the very next weekend, the Autolite Nationals in the wine country of Northern California. For a lot of the funny car racers, it was going to be wine country when this one was over.
Cruz Pedregon serving up notice. He's not going to go without a fight. 5:12, 300 miles per hour. And the McDonald's car would advance. We would have another Castrol matchup. This time, semifinals, Force and Tony. Has Tony got enough clutch, got enough horsepower, got a little luck?
But one thing for sure, he was on the wrong side of the ladder. He wasn't supposed to meet Force into the final if that could possibly happen. John had seen the 5:12 Cruise. He tried to better it, and he did. A 5:07 at 299.
Not a bad season now. John Force in his 11th final in 12 races. Cruz Pedregon, there's that car again on the far side of the racetrack, And this time, watch it. The whining would go to Forrest. I can't believe he beat me.
That's unbelievable, Steve. I've been trying to beat Forrest for a while. He's awesome. He knows I love him, I respect him, but this is a good team. Dave Settles, this McDonald's team. If I don't see him excited, I'm extremely excited, but we're numb after getting beat so many times. But I just want to say thanks to McDonald's. We've not had a good year this year, but we're coming around.
Cruz Pedregon picking up his first win since Topeka of '95.
And the battle in Winston Points was for second and third between this man and his brother. Forrest over there to agitate him some more. He never gives up. But we almost gave up on the Northwest Nationals in Seattle for the second year in a row. Rain, and more rain. This was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't even remember.
Do you remember the car in the far lane? Richard Hartman qualified #1 for this event. Everybody else did, and look at that. Early action, Tony Pedregon with a gift. Hartman breaks. Pedregon throws the blower belt, 587, but that Castrol team continues to find ways to win.
Well, you saw what happened in the final round at Sonoma, where Cruz finally got to John Forrest by 0.02 of a second. Well, they were to meet in the semifinals because the Cruiser go 2 for 2. It sure looked like it. He was going to do it until he smoked the tires and had some mechanical problems, and Forrest sneaked by with a 499 at 3:02.
Sneaks by with a 499. Words you don't normally hear together. It's like, hey, is that the banjo player's Porsche? Set up the finals between Forrest and the kid. Can Pedregon pick up his second win of the season? I don't think so, Tim. John Forrest unrelenting, winning again, just about locking up the championship, and it's only August.
Can you get as big a hoot out of beating Tony as, say, Cruz or Hoffman?
No, I think I go back years ago to '92 when old Cruiser took me out, but Tony's a sweetheart. You got to love him, and he's a champion. That's what we're building. We're trying to shove him up to #2. He moved up on Cruz on points today, and that's critical, but he's a great kid.
Ladies and gentlemen, mark it down. John Forrest made a complete sentence. Forrest, way out there. The rest of the boys, Etchels moves into the 5 slot.
Well, everybody got a much-needed weekend off before going to Brainerd, Minnesota, the Champion Auto Stores Nationals. Semifinals, that pesky Worsham kid here in the near lane up against Tony Pedregon. And as hard as Worsham tries, and believe me, he does, Tony was just too much on this day to 5:07 at 291. Remember Brad Platt? Well, he surfaced again in Brainerd.
That's that kid from New Jersey again. He's the hottest funny car driver from New Jersey since
Al Sagrini.
Al used to just drive through the state. Forrest is driving through the field, and now this championship race really is almost over. Game effort for Platt, little sparks underneath, but hey, not to worry, the kid from the Garden State would return.
Kind of like that banjo player in his Porsche. All right, here we go. Forrest versus Tony, the final round at Brainerd.
Oh, surprise! Forrest wins, Forrest wins, Forrest wins.
We got double duty here, but what we accomplished, we got Tony around his brother, around McDonald's, that's what it's all about.
And got the big mo going into the U.S. Nationals.
What's big mo mean?
Momentum.
Oh, momentum. Well, Steve, I ain't told you I'm just an old overweight truck driver. Ask Bazemore. A dumb overweight truck driver. The big mo, what does that mean? What I'm doing?
Oh, man, he's just too cool. Chuck Etchels hanging around there in the number 5 slot. They're not going to catch John Forrest.
And I will never lay another sports metaphor on the man as long as I live. But John did take the momentum into the biggest race of them all, the U.S. Nationals. More prize money for funny car than this sport had ever seen. With the Big Bud Shootout, the U.S. Nationals, the bonuses here and there. Man, you could get rich on this one.
And he will. Cruz Pedregon and John Forrest, the quintessential final round at any funny car race for the 1990s. This was for the Big Bud Bucks.
$100,000 on the line. Forrest just trucks out 4 car lengths to put away Cruz.
It's really nice. It really makes us feel good. What's really unique is today is Austin Coyle's birthday, and to win a paycheck like this, 100 grand plus with the sponsors match, we're doing really good. But tomorrow's another race. Have a couple of Budweisers, get home, get ready to do, and see if Coyle and Bernie and Mellon can do this again.
Did you notice that Austin Coyle had the check there?
A couple of Budweisers. Well, this was tomorrow, and heartbreak for Cruz Pedregon. Watching the starting line. Cruz is late. Forrest with a better reaction time. Forrest with the worst elapsed time at 5:10. Cruz ran a 5:06 and lost. That hurts. And John, you have clinched your 6th championship with a whole shot victory over the evil red machine.
You know, he outran me?
Yeah, he did.
Well, I tell you something, this ain't about money no more because I don't get none, but what this is all about is an old truck driver here that ain't giving up. We ain't too old. The whole world ain't old. I ain't old, but I got another round to go, then I'm getting drunk.
And here's something that'll help that out. Some champagne, a mini celebration. Deb Britson, come on in here. Jennifer Schrum, the entire Winston drag racing team. An early celebration for John Force.
And it wasn't over. He won the championship. He won the shootout. Can he win another 100 large by taking out Al?
Woo, Al Hoffman with a moonshot. Force with a straight shot. 5:13, he doubles up. And there's going to be one big party. You can't accomplish any more in one weekend than you have.
I'm drinking me some Budweiser tonight for NHRA in Winston and Castro, Pontiac, MacTool. That was a drag race. I don't know what happened. Looked like his front end stood up out there about 300 feet.
It did.
That boy went deep. He went after old Forsey. This old fat truck driver, tough. Can I tell you that? Hey, he's a great racer and I love him. But he went in, top lights went out and everything. I said, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to dance again, huh?
Off pace a little bit. It doesn't matter. You won it.
Off pace, what a run this time.
Who cares? I should have run it
I have
up.
to talk to Cole about that. Pays way too much money this point. Hey, we're proud to be here, and for all the things this weekend. Still to the families, we love you. What can I say? You know what I mean? We're all in it with you, and yeah, we're gonna have us a Budweiser right now.
He is a human highlight reel, isn't he? Force out there. Cruz goes over into the number 2 slot. Took it away from Tony. The plot thickens.
Hey, I forgot about the money. Hell, I'll make some money out of this deal.
From all the pressures of Indianapolis, it was on to the relaxing countryside of Maple Grove, Pennsylvania. The Moon Eyes car of Kenji Okazaki up against John Force, the newly crowned champion. A 6-time champion can't get beat by a little budget car with a Japanese driver. Oh, yes, it can. Kenji Okazaki defeated Force with a 5:20 to John's 5:38.
I don't know what you call that. I'm pretty sure it's not the Macarena. It didn't look like the chicken dance, but hey, little revenge for that 1993 U.S. Nationals final race that Kenji will never forget.
John Force yelled his congratulations over at Kenji, and Kenji went into kind of a weird little dance. I think underneath that Yellow Moon helmet is one happy guy from Tokyo, Japan. Finally.
Well, hey, I'm a single happy man now. I beat the John Force. And hey, I like this track. Track is good. I mean, I believe the track is good. I tell you what, hey, thank you, Jim Dunn, the crew. I mean, Diane and Moon Eyes, Blue Panic. We did a good job. That's all.
Now he's going to get another Force car in the semis.
Hey, Kenji, Chinese cookie said no way.
Kenji said, Kenji-san beat fat old truck driver. Get the number 2 car in the next round, trying to see if Kenji can go to the finals here at the Grove.
But Tony Pedregon had to revenge the boss. There was no running with his brilliant 5:11 at 302 miles an hour. But in many ways, a young Canadian driving a beat-up old blue car for Paul Smith, the school car, was the star of the show in the semis.
Dale Worsham trying to get to the finals, but the blue car. Canadian Jeff Oren goes to the finals, trying to become the first Canadian pro champion since Gordy Bonin in '94. And join other great Canadian champs, Gary Beck, Barry Poole, and Scott Wilson.
Gary Beck was a native of Seattle before he had a Canadian sponsor, though.
Well, and Scott Wilson never really won anything. I just like throwing his name out there. Let's see what the blue car could do right here. Not much of a chance. You don't think so? Oh, baby. Jeff Oren, Paul Smith, and his kids in the school, what a job.
You were off the starting line first. You won about $30,000. That's about $50,000 Canadian. That'll go a long way.
Yeah, well, it's fantastic. I can't say how happy I am. I guess it hasn't sunk in yet, but my hats off to the Castro guys, too. They run great all the time.
I don't know about you, Steve, but I think that was one of the more emotional wins all season long.
It was the biggest starting line celebration. It went on for days, it seemed like. You want to feel really sorry for Guy. This was our second trip to Topeka. In the far lane is Jim Epler with his wife Susan looking on. They're brand new Winnebago funny car. Broken oil line. Did more than wear the shiny off it. The body destroyed. The motor sitting sideways in the car. It was almost a total loss. And as I said, it was brand new.
You know, it was a brand new car. I don't know what happened. I guess maybe an oil line got under one tire, but I'll tell you, when they get away from you, they can get away from you.
You're okay. That's the important part.
Yeah, it is.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I'm okay. Question my sanity.
Hey, he had Easy Care sponsoring the car. The thing's probably under warranty. It'll be the Brothers Pendragon one more time at Heartland Park, Topeka.
And this was in the semifinal round. The track had not been yielding the kind of times we saw earlier in the year. But for Tony Pendragon, it was mighty close. A 492 at 306 miles an hour. Remember, his boss holds the record here at 489.
His boss also looking to hold another record, the most wins in a single season. If he wins here, he will have 12 wins. Nobody's ever done that before. Until now. Force with a 97 loves running here at this racetrack. Little bit of problem for Tony, but nothing to worry about.
Well, I don't know. We really like shallow stage. We tried to go after the number. He okay, though?
He's just fine. You got a 490, not quite the record, but you got the money in your 12th win.
Well, that don't matter as long as he's okay. You know, we come out for Castro, Pontiac, Mac Tool, all the guys try to do our deal. And where'd he get in trouble? Where was he in trouble?
He's right up the starting line, but he's okay. Again, congratulations, John.
Won a race. He got on fire and stole all the TV. Way to go, kid.
Go figure. Tony in the number 2 spot and hoping to be able to wrap this thing up when they go to Dallas. We've only got 2 races left on the 1996 NHRA Winston Drag Racing Tour. Tony trying to get a little breath of fresh air as the Safari does their thing.
The Chief Nationals, the all-concrete Dallas quarter mile. Here in the semis, if Tony Pendragon could beat his brother Cruz in the near line, he would clinch second spot at 50 grand. But Cruz ensured it would go to the final race of the year.
That's awesome. It felt awful good out there. I heard Tony down about half track, but that's a big round win for us there. And little brother's done good this year.
Whit Bazemore drove this car at the start of the season. Smokin' Joe's driver injured in a motorcycle accident, so the opponent for John Force in this run would be Dale Puldey, veteran Southern California runner. Used to run the Miller High Life Warrior. Great driver, great match racer.
And former national event winner, but he was up against John Force. Impossible task, not for Dale Puldey. 5:02 to Force's 5:05.
Well, just wasn't a day here for Castrol. We're going to keep an eye on old Cruz. We want him to take old Cruz out, keep old Tony in that points. Now you're working for us, boss.
Okay, buddy.
Of course, we've been working for Winston a long time. You know that.
Fat old truck driver and a Harley-Davidson mechanic. How about that? Well, the Smokin' Joe's guy, can they live their dream? Can it come true? I should say so. How about this? Puldey gets the win.
You got to feel bad for Whit Bazemore. He should have been in this seat, but you got to celebrate with Dale Puldey.
You can count on it. This Camel Smokin' Joe Ford Mustang really did good. All the Mobile One people, R.J. Reynolds, Rob Flynn, the whole crew, they did an excellent job. Whit, we wish you were here.
You wanted a 4 and you almost got it.
Well, that's okay. I'll take the win. We got one more race to maybe get a 4. If we don't, we'd rather have the win.
Congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
A blast from the past, Dale Puldey.
People at home, we did it.
Well, the people at home now know that you did it. The battle for the number 2 slot going right down to the final race of the year.
Take a bit to cool it off. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
To celebrate his 6th Winston Championship at Pomona, the final race, John Force debuted a once and only once body. Austin Coyle appeared very impressed with the flame machine. Austin doesn't like anything changed during the season. Here we go. This was for the number 2 spot and $50,000.
And it happened in round number 1. Cruz smokes the tires, and Tony smokes everybody but the boss. Kenji, Tony, semifinals. Kenji loves running the Castrol cars.
But Kenji left too soon. He would have won this race, and as you'll see later on, maybe the entire event if he hadn't been a little too quick.
And if there's any justice, the final would come down to Force and Tony. It would, but there would be no justice. Tony could not fire, and the one and only car, the six-time champion car, gets the solo.
Pomona, his home track in front of his hometown fans, turned into a disaster for John Force. It would be a single, but that wasn't the end of his troubles. A very cold racetrack. Little dew in the air. John wanted to run 380 if he could for the fans. Instead, he couldn't run 40 miles an hour. Blew the tires of it right up the starting line.
Tony Pedregon just thinking about what might have been. Somewhere in the pit area, Big Jim Dunn and Kenji Okazaki are saying, oh, but for a red light, we could have been the winners of the Winston Select Finals. A dominant year for John Force, not the way he wanted to go out.
You like to win, but you like to race for the fans. And back in the pits, he had to change motors, Tony did last round. And when they went to start it, we were all running late. They went to fire his and it wouldn't fire, and they tried everything, and they were just shoved on time, you know, trying to get here to make the TV deal. And they come up there at a long shot that it would go, and it just wouldn't run. And kind of takes my heart out of it, you know what I'm saying? I like to drag race. You got 30, 40,000 people out here, you know, NHRA Winston fans that want to watch you. Two Pontiacs go at it, and you know, it's just, I just wish we had more time. We could have fixed it, but I mean, it's the world of TV. I understand it, but I don't like it. It's just the way it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's progress, and yeah, it's just hell. The kid would have beat me. You know what I mean? I smoked the tires. He would have whooped me no matter what he ran.
Here's the way the points wound up. Force so dominant, he's already leading in the 97 points. Tony gets the second spot. Cruz, Al, Chucky, and your second five. Mark Oswald, great year for Worsham. Tips to Kenji Okazaki, Whit Bazemore, and Gary Densham.
A postscript. Monday night, they still couldn't figure out why Tony's car wouldn't start. It's Pro Stock time in Drag 96. Preseason testing at Bakersfield saw the return of the Dodge Boys. After being outrun by several rent-a-cars and a hopped-up golf cart, they headed back to Wayne County Speed Shop with their tail between their legs. The big story of 95 turned out to be the non-story of 96.
Opening up at the Chief Auto Parts Winter Nationals, Warren Johnson, new look Pontiac. Pontiac, the official car of NHRA. The car of choice for Warren Johnson. The GM Performance Parts entry goes and qualifies number one, 701-196. The 17th time in the last 22 races, WJ was number one.
But he could not parlay that past the semifinal round. The learning curve a little too steep with this brand new Pontiac, and it was Jim Yates putting away Warren with a 706.
First of many times in Drag 96, we would see that meeting in Pro Stock. Jim Yates goes to the final against Billy Huff, running another Dick Maskin motor, team cars per se, and Jim Yates gets the first win of the 96 season en route to the championship.
There's a whole lot of people in the pits, even in the stands, and we'll say that Billy Huff laid down for Yates, but Yates won at 704-195, so I guess it's academic.
Jerry Bickle, Dick Maskin, chassis and engine builders respectively. Look at Yates atop the leaderboard. Billy Huff, WJ, Chuck Harris, Steve Schmidt round out the top five, but there's a lot of racing to go.
Ooh, you bet. Our next stop on the NHRA Winston Tour, the ATSCO Nationals, Phoenix, Arizona. Warren Johnson versus Tom Martino. Martino sharp, one of the best competition eliminator drivers ever. This was in qualifying. Remember, Warren qualified on the pole at Pomona. Can he do it again? Yes, he could. 704-195, the best mark we saw during qualifying at Phoenix. But come first round, Warren was out of here.
That was the first time since Englishtown 95 that Warren went out in the opening round. This is round one. It's Huff, it's Yates, rematch of Pomona. End result, same thing. Yates gets the win. Huff in a huff, leaves the Maskin camp, decides to go Pro Stock racing on his own.
Tom Martino versus Ray Franks in the semifinals. Terrific Pro Stock competition. It is Martino at a 7:14 to a 7:17. Martino all year long would cut that tree down the side.
That's what you do when you hone your skills in comp eliminator, besides the fact he's from New Jersey. Thought now would be a good time to work that in. He's out in front of Yates, not for long. Gave it one of these jobs, had the wigglies. Yates has the gigglies. He is 2 for 2. And so are Bickle, Maskin, and Tony Yates, Jim's wife.
For the first time ever, Jim Yates has won 2 in a row. Pomona and now Phoenix, the P races.
How sweet it is. I'm going to tell you, that's great. That's absolutely fantastic.
Nice, 7:05. That was consistently the number he wanted to run.
The P races. Can he say that on TV? Oh, that's Diamond P. I get it. Yates, Harris, Martino, Franks, and there's that Huff boy in the number 5 slot.
That was Pomona and Phoenix, Bob. Pomona and Phoenix. Jim Yates, Tom Martino. Studying the time slip that tells the tale for both of them. And on we went to beautiful Gainesville, Florida. In round number 1, it was Warren Johnson, the GM Performance Parts Pontiac, up against Mike Edwards, who not only drives but also rents the John Kite Winnebago car.
Edwards, like Martino, a fugitive from the sportsman ranks. That's why he gets to be so quick on the line. Spanks the professor, it should be noted. Edwards was your 16th qualifier in the quickest pro stock field ever was here at Gainesville.
And for the second race in a row, Warren Johnson got to beat the traffic, lost in round 1 via the hole shot.
Oldsmobiles here in the semis, far lane, Mama Rosa Pizza. Mark Osborne taking on Steve Schmidt here in the semis. Schmidt looking to serve notice that he, his engines, and his team will be tough in 96. Goes to the finals with a 7:06, 196, the Dynagear car, in the championship round early in the year.
Good Jim Yates score the hat trick. With the lights on in Gainesville, his McDonald's Pontiac was in the far lane. Steve Schmidt in the near lane. Gambling is illegal in Gainesville, Florida. Schmidt tried it, got the red light, and Yates won his 3rd consecutive NHRA Winston event with a 7:02.
The McDonald's car patting that lead at the top of the board, looking for his first ever Winston championship. He had never won more than 1 race in a year. Here he is, the dominant single car. Schmidt within striking distance. Hey, where's the professor? Has anybody seen the professor?
Jerry Bickle, the car builder. Tony Yates, could they carry that kind of performance into the Slick 50 Nationals in Houston? We're gonna show ya. But first, here's George Marnell versus Mike Edwards in round 1. Marnell, the red car far lane, he's the one to watch. When you get out of the groove with a pro stock car, you gotta give it up.
Little flame comes out, fuel line came loose, had the brakes on while he was upside down. Kind of unusual, and I'm not sure that's really going to help slow you down, but I guess it's instinctive. Isn't that right, George?
I realized it towards the end of the track, got real loose, just got away.
But the car is not all that badly damaged. I think a new roof and it may be okay, but he's fine, and that's the important thing.
I'm fine.
Your neck's not hurt at all, right?
Not a bit.
If you didn't understand the beginning of that interview, he said, I'm going over here, my helmet.
Better that we didn't understand it. Semifinals, Yates. Yates has problems. Yates' streak will end at 3. Mike Edwards nails him with a 7:05 at 195.
Yates trying to become the first guy since Clinton in '79 to win 4 pro stock races in a row. Wouldn't happen. Instead, we would have a first-time winner. Not since Schmidt and Yates at Seattle in '94 did we have 2 guys in a pro stock final who had never won before. Mike Edwards in the far lane, the Emu farmer out of Oklahoma, former modified champion, climbs to the top of the peak and gets his first pro stock win.
Steve, I don't know what to say. I just got to give all this credit to good Lord Jesus, because without him, this day wouldn't be possible. I just, so much to be thankful for.
What a parting shot, a 7:02.
I mean, it went a 7:02, but it moved around pretty good in that right-hand lane, but I just thank God for this win.
The first of many, I'm sure.
Thank you, Steve.
A fine young guy. Take a look at the points. Jim Yates, Ray Frank, Steve Schmidt, Mike Edwards, Tom Martino. Who would have thought? Warren, where are you?
Yeah, buddy. Good job.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, that was great. That was great. Got it. That's good. Woo. That's all that hard work's for.
Needless to say, but I'll say it anyway, it meant a lot to Mike Edwards. We went Bob Fry to the Winston Select Invitational in Rockingham, and Mr. Edwards, Friday night qualifying, $10,000 for the #1 spot.
Watching Mike Edwards in his car and the sponsor, I'll never forget the immortal words of David Wamby. He said, "Thank God in Winnebago." Sounds like a great country song. He got the 10 grand and the #1 spot. Mike Edwards, at this point, next to Jim Yates, the hottest pro stock shooter in the field.
In the semifinals, it was Kurt Johnson, the Delco car in the near lane, his old man, the professor, in the far lane. There was no points, no games, a flat-out drag race between father and son that saw WJ take it at 7:05, 194.
Well, you ask where he is, and there he is, coming alive with that Firebird, still having a little teething problems with the new car. It would be WJ in the far lane. Tom Martino looking for his first pro stock win on the 96 season. Would he get it? Nope. WJ punched him out with a 7:05, 195 miles an hour, and maybe, just maybe, WJ was back.
Warren, I think I figured it out. Don't qualify #1 and you win the car race.
That thought came across after first round. No, Steve, I'll tell you, we needed this win. Pontiac, GM Performance Parts, AC, Delco Battery, Goodyear. I mean, they're all part of this thing, the crew. I just had to enjoy riding in this thing today. I mean, it was nice and smooth. I think we probably had low ETV every round. So we're getting a little bit of a handle on this thing, but it's because of the hard work of other people.
And you ripped him on the lights as well. Great job.
I ripped Tommy? Good grief.
Hey, not bad for a fat old truck driver.
Wrong guy.
Oh,
Wrong
sorry.
Guy. Anyway, Warren got all the money, but it paid no points in Rockingham. Round 1 at the Fram Nationals in Atlanta up against Pete Williams. WJ, you better hurry. Williams puts him out again in the first round at 7:08 to a quicker 7:07. That really rubbed a little salt in the wound.
Yeah, here's that Edwards boy again against Jim Yates. By the way, we should tell you that Ricky Smith had qualified #1 here at this race. Jim Yates and Mike Edwards trying to see who gets into the championship round. Man, you can't keep Yates down very long. 7:03, 195. He continues to pour it on.
With Warren Johnson out, he had nothing else to do but help his son Kurt in the final round. He brought over a pair of carburetors, a little racing advice. But as it turned out, that isn't what won it. The reaction time of Kurt Johnson, brilliant driving. He didn't have the power, but he had the talent. A 7:06 beat a 7:03. Just what Warren needed. Get Yates out a round early.
Move the kid, KJ, up into the #5 spot. Still some interesting guys, Edwards, Franks, and Schmidt in the 2, 3, and 4 positions. And the crowd, as they say, goes wild.
The Pennzoil Nationals, Virginia Motorsports Park. The Dodges return since the debacle in testing at Bakersfield. Jeffrey Young was in the near lane qualifying alongside WJ.
You know, I'm just extremely ecstatic just to be here. I mean, sometimes you got to walk before you can run, and we did a lot of walking this weekend, but we plan on running in the future. And
in the interest of fair reporting, they did not do a lot of running the rest of 1996. Troy Coughlin did. He's driving the Jags mail order car in the far lane. Man, if you could buy these things that ran like that through mail order, Jags business would go through the roof. A little bit of driving job in the starting line doesn't hurt either, Steve.
Oh, no, and that's a Steve Schmidt motor. A lot of talent there. Talent here as well. Ricky Smith, the checkerboard car, the left-hander far lane up against Warren Johnson. This was the semifinals. Warren Johnson had the better reaction time. Could it happen 2 races in a row? Warren wins on a whole shot. 7:02 to a 7 flat for Ricky Smith. Woo.
Maybe, just maybe, the professor's getting that Pontiac sorted out. It's Mike Edwards, the Winnebago Oldsmobile. It's Warren Johnson, the 3-time Winston champ. Of the 2, Warren Johnson's the only one who's winless on the year.
To have any shot at catching Jim Yates in the Winston points, Warren Johnson was in a must-win situation, and he was up to the task. A 7:01 at 196 miles an hour. Put away Mike Edwards.
Pro stock points, it's still Yates, but hey, Warren's on the same page. He's in the #4 slot. Edwards, Schmidt, Martino wound out that top 5.
Well, if you're a Ford fan or a Bob Glidden fan, and the two are synonymous, you haven't had a lot to cheer for the past few years. Well, this was E-Town. The DuPont Automotive Finishes Pro Stock Challenge for 50 grand, the final between WJ and the 10-time champion Glidden. WJ completely sideways, only masterful driving kept that car off the wall. Glidden won the 50 grand.
Third time that he'd won the big bucks in the DuPont Pro Stock Challenge. Now could he double up? If he did, he's got 50 large waiting for him. In the second round, Chuck Harris, far lane, takes out the 10-time Winston champion. Is nothing sacred. Harris goes to the semifinals. Glidden goes home. Little header fire, not to worry.
But the final round maybe was inevitable. Jim Yates versus WJ. WJ far lane. A wonderful drag race, did you call it? Well, the electronic finish line judge and the starting line group certainly could. It was Yates over WJ, a 7:13 to a 14.
And the points, and it's still Yates out in front. Would anybody be able to run him down here in 96? So far, Mike Edwards, the guy with the best shot. WJ really starting to close in. Super Bowl champ Joe Gibbs tells his boy in Pro Stock, go long, go long.
Columbus, Ohio, the Pontiac Excitement Nationals. We tried to run it one weekend, got completely rained out, came back the following Saturday. And this was WJ and KJ in round number 2. Problems for the youngster. The old man waltzes into round 3 with a 7:18 at 193. He would waltz in the final.
He would meet Chuck Harris, your number 1 qualifier. He had never won a Pro Stock championship before. All he's got to do here is beat the winningest Pro Stocker of the 90s. Beat WJ, and he did it soundly. Wins it with a 7:16, 193 for his first ever.
The man from Massachusetts wins his first one. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Kerry Towdy from Pontiac has got the trophy, and he enjoys presenting it to a Firebird driver.
Your first one. Congratulations.
Thank
nice
you.
job.
That Pontiac did the job.
Thank you.
You were right there. Where did you pass Warren on the racetrack?
Pretty quick, I think. Pretty quick. I mean, we've been having a real good weekend. I mean, I can't say enough about my whole crew. John and Draco, my crew chief, my son, everybody that's been here helping. I want to thank Jim Yates. I want to thank Jerry Bickle and Dick Maskin for making that Maskin power. Because with the power, you wind up with this. We're just
the best Father's Day present a man could have.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Whoa, baby, WJ making a move. Don't look now, Jim Yates. You have got yourself a battle for the 1996 Winston Pro Stock Championship.
Right. Yes.
Next stop, Memphis. Pennzoil Nationals. Winnebago car, Todd Patterson, far lane. Former NBA star, Larry Nance, near lane. Rough weekend for Nance. First, I tattooed him in a game of 1-on-1 basketball. We have film later on in the tape. Then he fails to qualify. Wasn't a great weekend either for Todd Patterson.
Yeah, well, the former only happened if he was wearing handcuffs. But Warren Johnson knew that he was rising in the point standings and wanted to get some more, the greedy guy that he is. In the semifinals, he was again up against Ricky Smith. Remember the last time they met, Warren on a hole shot? Well, this time he didn't need a hole shot. A 7:20 was enough to do it. That's how thick the air was in Memphis and how hot it was. A 7:20 was a good Pro Stock Elapsed time.
Good enough to put WJ in the finals for the 4th consecutive time. By the way, his son, Kurt Johnson, failed to make the field here at Memphis. WJ not only makes the field, he makes the winner's circle. Great drag race right there.
It's another win. It wasn't beating Jim or McDonald's or anything like that because they've been doing an excellent job, but we have to win on our own. It's not that we want anything given to us. We had to get our team together, and I think we finally came through this year.
In some ways, weren't you also racing Dick Maskin to build those motors?
Oh, Dick's been doing an excellent job. Without Richard Maskins, I don't think that program would exist. I mean, everybody acknowledges that. They've done an excellent job of putting a driver, a engine builder, and a team together, and I think we're comparable to that.
Terrific performance. And you didn't even call him, what's his name?
Warren Johnson just telling it like it is. And so are we. WJ's made a chase out of a thing that looked like a rout just a couple of races ago.
WJ, underestimated for having a personality. Never underestimated is Jim Yates. At Topeka, Kansas, this was the semifinals against Troy Coughlin. And remember what Troy did to him earlier in the season.
Yates certainly did. Great move off the line. A lot of horsepower, and look at that. Couple of foul at the finish line, but the Mickey D's car wins it by a nose.
And who'd have thought? Yates and WJ in the finals. And Warren still was in that I must beat Jim Yates situation. He was not that close in points. He had to get another 20 here. And bingo, he did just that with a 7:10 at 193 miles an hour.
I have to thank Jim for that, for trying to jack around on the lights, because I'm running his new clutchless transmission. My hand accidentally shifted into second, so I have to put it back into neutral, back into first while he was jacking around on the starting line. But this GM Performance Parts Pontiac came through.
That's all kind of pro stock racing, and it always has been.
Yeah, that's part of the act. I mean, that keeps those fans in the stands, and I guess that's the bottom line, entertainment.
Yeah, he says that because he won. Would have been a different story had he lost.
He wouldn't have talked to me.
Captain of the blue team, meet the captain of the red team. You guys can call it in the air. Well, we're going up in the air. Here's another guy, as hard as it may be to believe, that I beat in 1-on-1 basketball. Tom Hammonds of the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, as hard as it might be to believe. An active basketball player up against Brad Klein in qualifying, about 6,700 feet up in the air. As tall as Tom Hammonds is, he sits in the back seat, if there were a back seat in a pro stock car, and he DNQ'd, unfortunately, at the mile highs.
Warren Johnson qualified at the mile highs, got punched out early in the program by Steve Schmidt. Schmidt would then meet the points leader, Jim Yates. Schmidt looking for his first win on the season. Nope. Yates gets the win, but by about that much. That's announcer talk for 8 thousandths.
Jim Yates, you cannot snap your fingers in 8 thousandths of a second, and that was what you won that race by.
Man, I tell you, it was close down there. You know, Steve's been running tough all afternoon, and we knew it was going to be a handful running them. You know, we've just been chasing this thing, but obviously the guys, Dick Maskin and the crew's got this McDonald's Dynamax Pontiac just running great out there.
Up in the air, down at sea level, doesn't make any difference. Yates is beating them all over the country.
And down to the far end came wife Tony with a full body block. There it was. Now, he was high in Denver. Let me tell you what, in Sonoma, he hit the lows. He got punted out first round by Mike Edwards. This was Edwards in the semis up against Chuck Harris. Each of these drivers had already won their first event of their careers in '96. It would be Edwards to the finals at 7:16, 194. And who, Mr. Basketball Star Fry, would he race in the final?
He would take on WJ. Starting line, it might look like a little delay of the game, but nope, they're both out of there, and WJ would get the win. He would cut that Jim Yates lead in half from 163 coming in. Yates now leads by 85 points. Edwards, Harris, Schmidt running 3, 4, and 5, but at this point, Steve, it looks like a two-car race.
Yates could hear WJ coming. We went to Seattle, and here's another example of why you just got to give up on a pro stock car unless you're Bob Glidden at E-Town. Terry Adams, upside down, into the fence, back on his wheels. He was a passenger.
We was under full power and was making a pretty good run, and basically the same thing happened to me. It happened to Barry Grant at the last run. It blew the oil pressure line off, and, you know, we're just kind of on our own after that.
We'll let you survey the damage. It's not too terrible.
Thanks.
Okay.
This is a quixotic sport. WJ, who cut the lead in half in the last race, bounced out in round 1 at Seattle. That left KJ to carry the family name into battle. He'd take on that Mike Edwards in the final, and how about that? Great drag race. Mike Edwards gets the win.
And you crew chief this car as well. That's incredible.
Yeah, I do, Steve. You know, there for a little while, I was concerned that I couldn't do both, but things was looking up, and hopefully I can keep it up the rest of the year.
2 wins. Great job.
Thanks, Steve.
Jim Yates still atop the leaderboard. In fact, he put some distance between himself and Warren Johnson in Seattle, even though he didn't win the race. Kurt Johnson, he didn't win the race either. Mike Edwards won his second in his rookie season. A week off, and then Brainerd, Minnesota. Warren Johnson country. This is where he was born and raised and began his racing career, was in Minnesota. Jim Yates came to town with his Paul Bunyan axe, and what a race the two had in the semis. They both run 7:13, but as you can see by the winning distance, Warren had a much better reaction time, 193 miles an hour.
WJ into the finals against Steve Schmidt, who hasn't won since the peak of 95. Could he do it here? Tough road to home. WJ loves this ballpark, and he goes right down the boulevard, gets the win. He runs 7:11.
Warren Johnson's mother had never been to the racetrack when he won.
Dang. Don't get so emotional. It's just one race.
I'm embarrassing you?
Yeah?
No.
Have at it.
We had our Diamond P cameras there listening in as she whispered in his ear, try to leave on time next time. No, I'm only kidding. I'm teasing.
I didn't dare show myself because I don't know. Because I didn't want to break. Okay?
I never get excited.
Oh, you did. Okay.
I think that is so neat. A great look at a true champion.
Absolutely. Here we go. Indianapolis, Indiana, the biggest race of them all. Warren had won it 4 years in a row.
Almost hit the wall. About time to go looking for Mom for a little consolation. The Pennzoil car gets the nod, goes into the next round, and WJ, who was making such a big move, stunned in round number 1 with mechanical problems.
He had broken a wheelie bar. His son, Kurt Johnson, the Delco car, black and yellow up against Jim Yates. Boy, Warren needed the kid to get it done. And he did, with yet another hole shot over Yates. His weak link, his Achilles heel, has been off the starting line in 09, beat in 08.
Folks, Slick 50 giving out $500 a pop if guys win on hole shots, never going broke in pro stock category in 96. Ricky Smith, KJ, finals, great drag race in Indianapolis. The Johnson family wins it again. This time it's Kurt Johnson. In the points battle, KJ moves into the number 4 slot. WJ did not help his championship chase at all here at Indianapolis Raceway Park.
At Maple Grove, you remember Bob's basketball buddy, Tom Hammonds? Well, in qualifying, he again was alongside Brad Klein, a huge crowd on hand, all lusting after Mr. Hammond's autograph. Remember, big, long, tall guys sit awkward in these cars and maybe have a different perspective. It was crunch time for Tom Hammonds. A once beautiful pro stock car was worse for wear.
But he will be back and race again if the Denver Nuggets let him. Jim Yates on the far side, George Mornell near lane, semifinals. Yates on the far side would put down the best run of the year. For the statisticians out there, how about a 694, 197 miles an hour, and that puppy can fly.
A new national record, and that meant a lot. He proved he had the performance, along with all the controversy.
He would have more than that. The performance, a lead off the starting line. Warren fires and falls back. The pro stock race ain't over till it's over, but for everybody but the McDonald's car, it is just about over.
This car has been running so good all day, you know, and we went up there against Warren, and I knew if I could run a 694, I figured Warren could run a 694. So, I mean, we were really uptight, believe it or not. I mean, we went up there, and I went in. I didn't want to play any games, and Warren doesn't play any games with me, and I went in first and put on a limiter, and he just took a long time to come in, and, man, when I seen yellow, I was gone. I seen a little bit of a move from his fender, and then it was it. I mean, history. The car was so smooth out there. They've done a great job with this track.
I think he thanked everybody but you and I, Steve.
And he backed up the record, most importantly.
Yep, and that's a lot of points. A record's equal to 1 round win. And that really did put the Mickey D's car in good stead as they headed into Heartland Park, Topeka, a very fast track.
You know, he didn't get a lot of headlines, but Jerry Ackman in the Pennzoil car really had a pretty darn good season. He went a lot of rounds and ran very strongly. This was in the semis. Ackman was no match, though, for Jim Yates on this day. Yates is 704 at 195. The fuel cars run big numbers in Topeka, not the normally aspirated chase. A little bit of altitude going for you here.
In the final, it'll be Ray Franks in the near lane, running the Oldsmobile, taking on Jim Yates. Can Ray Franks do it? Nobody's done it in a while. Stop Yates? Nope. Jim Yates, 7:06. Frank's a game effort. It's 7:09, but he's got nothing to show for it. And the crowd, well, you know the rest. Points later, Jim Yates just about ready to put this baby to bed. Edwards, Schmidt, Harris having great years.
But Jim Yates took that big, broad grin and his national record-holding performances to Dallas, Texas to try to clinch the title. And he could do it here in the very first round against Mark Powick. All he had to do was beat Powick, and his first Winston championship was put to bed.
Think he's going to do it, Steve?
He didn't red light, he didn't cross the center line, he didn't hit the wall. Yes! He's the champ. A 7:03 and 196. Sealed it away for Jim Yates. They were ecstatic. Jim Yates, a man who has worked his way to the top from bracket racing at his local track to Winston Pro Stock champion.
Well, I tell you, this is just great. You know, the team has worked so hard, and I just want to thank my sponsors, McDonald's, Pontiac, and Dynamax, Champion Shell, Interstate, Joe Gibbs Racing, my crew, Dick Maskins. They've worked really hard this year, my family. They stuck behind me. This is a great deal.
Arch Deluxes for everybody on the house. WJ, by the way, went out again in round one. His kids stayed around to the finals to see what he could do with Jim Yates. Nothing. Yates runs 7 flat, 196 and change. It is academic. He won the championship. He won the race. He has been the dominant single Pro Stock car this year.
So the title was settled as we moved into Southern California, the beautiful Pomona Raceway. Jim Yates had his check for $125,000. Actually, he got a little early in Dallas. And the final round, no Warren Johnson, no Jim Yates. It was Mike Edwards and Ricky Smith. Edwards with 2 wins under his belt already. At this race, he joined the 6-second club, and this win here would make him co-Rookie of the Year.
Yep. Identical 701s. Great driving job by Mike.
It just all came together in one day. I mean, you get in the 6-second club. I've been trying to do this all year long. I mean, everybody wants that. And to win a race, and when you get in the 6-second club, beating an ex-world champion, that just topped it off even more.
Congrats to the 96 Winston Pro Stock champ. He went wire to wire. There are the other guys in the top 5, and not a bad year also for Steve Schmidt, Harris, Martino Ekman, and there's that Bob Glidden again.
Thanks to this young man and a young woman you'll meet later on in the tape, the 1996 NHRA Winston Pro Stock motorcycle season was the best ever. And as always, Mr. Personality added a good degree of spice as well. That's Steve Johnson up against Matt Hines. This is qualifying at their first race of the year, Gainesville, Florida.
Matt Hines wasted no time in flashing that legendary Vance and Hines horsepower. He would qualify number 3. Pro Stock bikes in the very first race of the year would give us the quickest field ever in Pro Stock bike history. Most people figured Schultz and Myers would duke it out for the title. Schultz served notice right away that he was going to be a player all year long.
That is the Sunoco machine in the near lane. Not only did he snag the pole at Gainesville, but in record fashion, 7.386.
Wow. And Dave Schultz, the great co-prepared motor scooter, would be a factor all season long. We have got Myers and Hines, Star Performance Parts, Vance and Hines, legends in the sport of Pro Stock motorcycle. One of them's going to bow out early, and look at that John Myers trying to defend his Winston championship. 745, 184. He'd go to the finals running well, but maybe not well enough to beat Schultz.
And they ran true to form. The final under the lights was Dave Schultz and John Myers. You're on board with Dave Schultz. Woo! Schultz train-linked Myers to win the first event of the year, a 7:45 at 179 miles an hour. He also walked away with the national record.
Down to Houston, next stop for the Pro Stock scooters. Matt Hines in the far lane, only his second race of the season. What would he do in qualifying? He would wind up in the number 1 position.
And right on the edge of control was Matt Hines. Whoa.
Both bikes fighting the wind at the end of the racetrack. Hines qualified number 1, then actually scraped the wall at the top end of the quarter mile. Schultz, Myers, semifinals. You can't let Dave Schultz get too far out in front of you, especially if you're John Myers.
These riders make it look so easy. These machines are animals to ride. Body English plays a big part in control.
You could throw a blanket over the two of them. They're that close, and how about that? Myers evens things up with Dave Schultz at just the second race of the season. Won the battle. Here's the war. John Smith in the finals. Smith out in front. Smith out in front. Not for long. Myers ran him down with a brilliant 7:47. 176 miles an hour in the points. It's going to be some fun.
Indeed, but look at rookie Matt Hines after 2 races in number 3, the veteran Paul Gass, followed by John Smith out of Minnesota. Yep, love that bike. It'll love you.
For AM Nationals, Atlanta, Georgia. That's Schultz on the far lane. He has won this race 6 consecutive times. Pizza John Mafaro back on the tour again. Will try to stop him.
Pizza John was never in this one. Dave Schultz all the way to go to the Final Four with a 7:48 at 179 miles an hour. Where were those 7:30s we saw in Gainesville? Come on, Davey.
As expected, John Myers, as good a battle as there is in any class. Warren Johnson, Jim Yates, John Force, anybody named Pedregon, Schultz and Myers doesn't get a whole lot better, and this time it's Dave Schultz wins this race for the 7th time. In finals here at this race, John Myers is 0 for 6.
But unlike some other seasons, the finals weren't ending with red lights, which so often happened, and to my way of thinking kind of tarnished it a little bit. For me it did anyway. Green light racing.
Benzoil Nationals finals one more time. Schultz and Myers. It would be John Myers holding on just the nose, gets the win. 7:42, almost 176, and he is extremely pleased. And so are George and Jackie Bryce, the proprietors of Star Performance Parts. They're going to make a run at the Winston title and champion. Only 2 points. David Schultz in the lead, Hines Smith, and the veteran Paul Gass round out the top 5.
And as John Myers and crew well know, it is 20 points per round win. So he was less than 1 race away from catching Dave Schultz in the points. We moved on to Englishtown, New Jersey.
You're on board with Dave Schultz, and you will watch on the far side of the screen one of those nasty wet lights that Steve was just talking about. John Myers fouls out. Dave Schultz gets the win. And what happens at the end of the racetrack is academic. The Great Coat prepared, Sunoco sponsored, Dave Schultz driven machine continues on the top of the points. Now he's starting to stretch it out. Rick Ward, a good performance at E-Town, moved into the top 5 for the first time in '96.
Columbus, Ohio, the Pontiac Excitement Nationals. It was a pair of Suzukis providing the excitement in Pro Stock Motorcycle. John Myers versus Hines in the semifinals, and Myers, the veteran red lights. What was I said about? Oh, never mind.
I believe it's your fault, Steve.
Matt Hines goes to his first ever final round.
Running out of the legendary Vance and Hines stable, has got a lot of horsepower, not a lot of experience. He would need both if he wants to beat this guy, Dave Schultz, the Sunoco rider, into the championship finals. And guess what? Another red light start. Matt Hines out of here. Dave Schultz in the winner's circle, in the lead, and seemingly in command in Pro Stock Bike.
Well, certainly on the leaderboard, he appeared to be in command as Dave Schultz continued to sneak away from John Myers. He now had a 61-point lead for about 3 rounds of racing. The rookie Matt Hines solidly in the 3rd slot. We went to Denver, and guess what happened? 3 chicks showed up with motorcycles.
By the way, that's Steve that said that if you're writing letters in. Stephanie Reeves in the far lane, she would qualify right here. Also, Angel Sealing, we'll see her in a minute. She qualified. Karen Stauffer out of Nevada did not. But not only 1, but 3 women show up and race Pro Stock Scoots here at the Mopar Parts Mile High Nationals, a harbinger of things to come.
This is Angel Sealing. She went to the George Bryce Riding School, which is part of the Frank Hawley School in Gainesville. He was so impressed that he put her on a motorcycle. This was her qualifying effort. She not only qualifies, she nails down the number 4 spot and went on to the Final Four, where Dave Schultz brought an end to a great story.
On the far lane, this is Karen Stauffer, the other lady we mentioned. She failed to qualify here, but a great effort this weekend. Trying to qualify in Pro Stock Bike was extremely tough every time out this year. Sometime all 3 of these ladies ought to call down to Texas and invite Vicky Farr over to their house because she was one of the first ladies ever to ride a pro stock bike in competition.
Well, the final round at Denver found guess who? Dave Schultz, but not guess who? Matt Hines, the rookie. On the mountain, was he up to the task? He left on him. Schultz was coming, but couldn't catch Matt Hines. A 794 in the rarefied air put him in the winner's circle for the first time.
I think he was doing that same dance Kenji was earlier on in the Drag 96 tape. Schultz leads, but the kid's kind of happy. No, I think that's the chicken dance. I'm pretty sure I've seen that before.
Okay, we go to Brainerd, Minnesota. They love the bikes in Brainerd. The parking lot was just full of motorcycles.
Schultz, Myers, semifinals. Myers needs to win if he wants to gain ground on Dave Schultz. He did, he would. Myers, 7:54, 171 miles an hour, put him into the finals against that Hines boy. Myers would break on the line. Hines wins the race, the first guy in the 90s besides Dave Schultz and John Myers to win 2 races in the same year.
That's why you don't red light. You've always got a chance that the other driver, the other rider is going to have a problem. That was proof of the pudding right there.
And Matt Hines all of a sudden throws his hat or helmet into the chase for the Winston title. Schultz, Myers at the top. Been some year for the kid from the Vance and Hines stable. Into Indy and the Wax Shop Pro Bike Dash final. There's that boy again, Steve.
There he is, Matt Hines up against John Myers. The race within a race. $15,000 on the line. And Byron Hines would be a proud papa because Matt did it. Hines over Myers. But Monday was a new day. It was also Labor Day. In the semifinals, this is John Myers against his teammate, the newest addition to Star Racing, Angel Seeling.
Angel going off against Myers. John still needs to keep pace. Oh, Angel cut him no slack. Almost took out the champion, and John Myers gets the win. Goes to the finals against the kid. Matt Hines has already won more pro stock races than his father Byron. Oh, but he wouldn't win Indy. He would not double up. He gets one of those nasty red light starts, and we all know it's Steve's fault. John Myers goes to the top of the pack over Dave Schultz. This baby's gone right down to the wire.
Well, if that was my fault, I'll take credit for what happened in Maple Grove with Angel Seeling. One of the biggest stories in motorsports in America in 1996 with George Bryce looking on the beautiful Amish countryside in Pennsylvania. The young woman from New Orleans would make history. Angel Seeling a new national record, 7:42 at 177.
I'm just really excited. It's my first final. This was my next goal as of yesterday, and I've accomplished it. And I want to thank George and Jackie for their patience with me.
A 98-pound registered nurse, somebody better be checking her pulse. I believe that heart's beating rather quickly. Not nearly as quickly as it would be when Dave Schultz fouls out. Angel Seeling, the 5th woman to win in pro classes, 23rd woman to win ever, and George Price, the folks from Star Racing absolutely go wild.
And she did it with a 7:37, a new record.
Schultz continues to lead the points, and Angel is really pumped. To show you what a team player she is, Angel on the right side of the screen decided to sit out the final round against her Star Racing teammate, John Myers. Myers running for the Winston Championship. Angel had the better bike on this day. Myers would have been in trouble had she staged up, but she decided to sit it out. She hopes that everybody understands the reasoning.
The crowd booed us, and we hope that they understand that this was something we had to do. We couldn't take any chances. John needs the 20-point lead that he has now, and it's because of him and his experience on this bike and on the bike that I'm riding, which is his motorcycle that they gave to me to race. And the team has worked really hard all year to get us both to where we are, and it was my gift back to them for everything they've done for me.
That would give John Myers a 22-point lead over Dave Schultz going into the final race for the bikes, the Winston Select Finals in Pomona. And that team, happy with the game plan, happier with the lead.
And that was the story coming into the Winston Select Finals until this young man, Matt Hines, crushed Angel's record with a 7:36. He needed to back it up, and this was that effort in front of his hometown crowd. Could he do it? He lowered the record to a 7:34. much to the delight of Terry Vance, the tall guy in the background who pioneered this class.
Things did not go according to plan for John Myers, George Bryce, and the folks from Star. Round number 1, they break. Stephanie Reeves gets the win, and the title hopes are iffy.
Coming into the race, we had a 22-point lead, so, you know, now that's dead even, really. I mean, you get 20 points a round. Dave won the first round, we didn't, so it's looking good for them.
Yes, indeed. It's Dave Schultz in the right lane. Larry Cook, who 15 years ago beat Dave Schultz to claim a motorcycle championship. Could he do it right here and keep the Star hopes alive?
The early lead went to Cook. John Myers was cheering him on from the grandstands, but at the last possible second by a wheel, Dave Schultz wins the Winston title.
Dave Schultz in dominating performance runs 7.37 seconds. He goes into the final under the lights, like to punctuate his 6th Winston championship with a win against John Smith, the guy that beat him for his only title earlier. And look at this, John Smith does it again, wins the Winston Select Finals, and there'll be a hot time in old Minnesota over the winter.
So for the narrowest of margins, Dave Schultz defeats John Myers. Matt Hines, with his 3rd place in points, joins Mike Edwards as co-Rookies of the Year.
And a late start, but a great finish for Angel.
The final segment in Drag 96, the kings of the sport. Top fuel dragsters, opening race, Pomona. Blaine Johnson, wheels in the air in qualifying. This one looked good. It was good. A national record, 4.66 seconds. Blaine Johnson has tied the national record at 4.66. I don't think anybody expected that on this racetrack.
Wow, the conditions out here are excellent. You know, Alan's just making all the horsepower he can possibly get, and the track is holding it this week. It's going to be awesome.
It would be Connie Coletta, Scott Coletta. Connie hadn't beaten the kid since 1994. Connie's been doing this for a while. His first win at the old Coliseum against Charlton Heston. It's how long he's been racing. Gets the win, wasn't pretty, but he goes to the semis.
A little fire has never bothered Connie Glenn. I think he kind of likes him, actually. This was Connie versus TJ Jr., Tommy Johnson in the semis. And Connie, without the fire, still wins at 488-285.
Connie would move into the championship round opposite Blaine Johnson. Connie in his 21st Top Fuel final in a storied career.
And Blaine was looking to make it 2 in a row at Pomona. He had won his first race in October of '95. Connie destroys another one, but it's Blaine Johnson with the win at 4.73 to take the early lead in Winston Top Fuel points.
Into Phoenix and the Atco Nationals. The desert, an unlikely place to see some spectacular runs. But watch this. This might be the run of the year.
I believe it is the run of the year. Kenny Bernstein far side. The wheels are in the air. Finally, they touch down. 3 different times Bernstein thought about aborting.
I just carried it, Steve, forever and ever and ever, and it was stuck there, and I went, please stay, please stay. And then when the front end came down, it smoked the front tires.
Who would have thought he would set the national record 20 bonus points at Phoenix? Not me.
Semifinals, Scott Coletta, Corey McClanathan, the Mickey D's cars, been out of the winner's circle for a while. And how about these numbers? 478, 297. Corey Mack would go against Big Red for all the marbles, and it's not going to be easy to stop Kenny Bernstein.
Bernstein, rather than getting greedy, trying to improve on that record, had a solid combination. Corey Mack overpowered the track. KB slugged out a 470 at 305.
I quit counting after a while. It's been so long, but I can't say enough for the team. The guys worked so hard all winter long, and certainly this whole weekend by all means.
There's the points chase as Blaine Johnson out in front by just 4 over KB.
Way to go, you guys.
Hugs all around. Gainesville, Florida, the site of Kenny Bernstein's historic 300-mile-an-hour run back in 1992 in the semis up against Scott Coletta.
You would say the quickest side-by-side run ever was. Had you like to be Bernstein, he ran a 473. He's out of here. Scott runs 472, goes to the finals.
And watch this final round. You will never forget it, especially the car in the near lane, Scott Coletta. Up, 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 and over backwards. A blow over. Blaine Johnson, not wanting to become part of the crash, almost forgets to win the race.
Scott would get out okay. After that wild ride, Blaine Johnson wins the race with the slowest winning time ever. He was so slow, if he had run in super gas, he'd have lost. Scott Coletta not happy that his car did not go into the winner's circle. That is some competitive team.
Blaine Johnson hangs on to the points lead, 294 to Bernstein's close, 248. Scott Coletta looking for that third title, but on this day, he was just glad he was all in one piece. So was wife Kathy.
A great crowd on hand at the Slick 50 Nationals in Houston, a notoriously fast racetrack.
Scott Coletta against Joe Amato in the semifinals. Amato, who had been having a miserable couple of years, 470 at 308 miles an hour. Boy, were they rooting for the yellow car in the near lane, the Texan Eddie Hill.
Against another Texan, Kenny Bernstein. Big Red's been tough. The Pennzoil car hangs in there, but at the far end, too much. Dale Armstrong power, 466, 307 miles an hour, and there is the aforementioned Dale Armstrong into the finals. He would go against Joe Amato, who's winless since Seattle of '94.
Amato a red light. It looked like the wheels came straight up out of the beams instead of rolling forward. Bernstein pedaled it and ran 466. Kenny Bernstein, you not only won the race, you reset your own national record at 4.663. Bonus points.
Hard to believe that could happen. I can't say enough for the team. Dale, Ray, Bob Brooks, and the whole team as hard as they work. And Amato, man, he's tough up there, I'll tell you, all the time.
A couple of war horses had a good time.
I thought we had better chance if we went out and played golf for this deal, but, you know.
That's what we do in a week or so, isn't it?
Yeah, in a week or so, yeah. We'll have some fun, but at least we got to the finals.
Absolutely.
You know, it was a good race.
They love playing golf, and for Bernstein, a 460 turned out to be pretty much par for the course this year. He takes over the points lead.
And that golf game they talked about happened on Thursday in Rockingham, North Carolina before the Winston Select Invitational. But this was Kenny Bernstein during qualifying alongside Mike Smith. Watch Bernstein. Oh, buddy, he got that one just in time, and still did some damage to the A-arms and the front wheels of the automobile.
I'm upset with myself because it was going up, and I stuck with it a taste too long. I shouldn't have done that, but, you know, you keep thinking it's going to stick and hold there and keep on going like it did over in Phoenix, and you're going to heck of a run. But
you try to use those front wheels kind of like rudders.
Yeah, I was using everything I had. I was going to put my hands out, my feet out if that helped right then, but it was just too much, too far gone. It's a shame. It was hitting ready to run pretty good. We just need to calm her down the front.
Hey, that would have looked cool on the tape. Hands and feet out. Neat. Maybe he'll try it next year. Blaine Johnson, Larry Dixon in the final. Blaine Johnson, the Travers Tool car, too much. For Larry Dixon and Don Prudhomme, 477 for the win for Blaine Johnson.
Well, Jesse James, you came here to rob the bank, and you definitely have done that.
Oh, boy. It was a great weekend. Everything seemed to go our way all weekend, and no problems. I mean, no big problems, anyway. There's nothing we couldn't work around. But, you know, Alan makes some serious horsepower, and these guys are in trouble if this thing continues to run like it is. We found a few things this weekend. It's going to be a consistent sucker.
Nice lap, Holmes.
Thanks.
Consistent sucker must be one of those driver terms there. We went to the Atlanta race, the Fram Nationals. Kenny Bernstein and Joe Amato were golfing on Sunday, Steve. Neither one qualified.
Yeah, amazing. Far lane is Mike Dunn. Near lane is Scott Coletta, round number one. Coletta rebuilt from Gainesville, but it's done with a 483, and Scott's season, little did he know, was to take a nasty turn.
The finals at Atlanta, folks. Just sit, watch, and enjoy. What a driving job by Dixon.
I went up into a wheel stand, and I said, damn, what am I going to do? And then got out of the throttle, and I got back in and went back up again, and I saw him, he was on fire. I'm like, damn, I think I can win this race. So I went after him, and, you know, what can I say? Snake and Miller and Pontiac and GMC.
Even Don Prudhomme said I'd have given up after the wheel stand. Right, Snake. I remember when. Blaine Johnson continued with the points lead. Kenny Bernstein right on his tail as the Snakes crew celebrated a win.
Into the Pennzoil Nationals, the Western Auto Parts America car. That is Shelly Anderson aboard against the Travers Tool car. Blaine Johnson appeared to have the quicker car, but throws the fuel line off, and Shelly Anderson gets the win. 5 flat, 279. You wouldn't figure that'd be good enough to beat Blaine, but on this run and this day, it was.
And if you think 5 flat was the best that Shelly Anderson could muster, watch this in the final round against Scott Coletta. Coletta foiling the tire. Shelly Anderson comes up with a 477, a nice number at 298 miles an hour to win her first race of 96.
That big final round showing by Scott moves him into the number 2 spot. He leapfrogged KB, and he's just points behind Blaine Johnson.
Englishtown, New Jersey, the Mopar Parts National. Shelly Anderson for Western Auto up against Larry Dixon. Remember his win from Atlanta.
Big numbers by the two of them. Dixon runs 481, Shelly 484, but she is out of here. Dixon loves this racetrack. He ran in the 60s a year ago.
And was a formidable adversary for Joe Amato in the final. Amato considers this his home racetrack, and he won it. The crowd went wild. Can I say that too? Amato won it with a 478 at 301. Jimmy Brock, you got it. You the man.
It's amazing. Amato shut out in 1995, the 5-time Winston champ, his first win in more than a year and a half.
And that put Dixon number 2 in the points.
And we go to the Pontiac Excitement Nationals. It's KB on the far lane. It's Shelly Anderson to the near lane. You're going to watch one of the quickest runs ever was.
This was the first weekend that was ultimately rained out. It was cool and nice. So cool. Kenny Bernstein whips up a record 460. It could be the 3rd time he set the national record for a total of 60 bonus points, but the following weekend turned hot, humid, no chance.
Bernstein did everything but win. Number 1 qualifier, low ET, top speed, not around in the finals. Corey McClanathan against Scott Collette in this semifinal. Corey Mack gets the win with an 88, 300 miles an hour in the finals. Hey, here's that kid again.
Corey McClanathan, far lane. Larry Dixon wanting to keep the wheels on the ground. He had the chassis balanced perfectly, but not enough power. Problems mid-course. Corey Mack wins. 481, 306 miles an hour.
To the victor go the spoils. Corey Mack, they're special when you haven't won one in, over a year?
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been struggling. Brand new car, first race out, win a race. I mean, I need to thank Joe and all those guys. I mean, they had enough faith in us to realize we wanted to go to a different race car. It worked out great.
Johnson, Dixon, Scott, Corey, Kenny. There's the heavy hitters all bunched up at the top of the fuel ranks.
Who could have believed that Kenny Bernstein would have slid all the way to number 5? That DNQ just killed him in Atlanta.
Semifinals next stop, Pennzoil Nationals, Memphis, Tennessee, and watch these two guys, Bernstein and Amato. Bernstein needs to win to move up in the points. Nuh-uh. Joe Amato straps a 78 on him. 303 to go to the championship run against Mike Dunn.
Amato and Dunn in the finals, as you said, Bob, and Dunn is hoping for better results than the last time he saw the finals in Atlanta when the engine exploded. You remember Larry Dixon, the big wheel stand. It was a thrilling final for all of us, but Mike Dunn didn't much care for it.
Mike Dunn qualified 5th here, and he's been winning ugly, but right here, Joe Amato must have been thinking about golfing. He got tattooed on the starting line, and Mike Dunn wins it.
We stepped it up a little bit for this round, and you know, we were getting a little bit loose out there, and we decided, well, if it gets loose, we'll try and grab the brake, and I grabbed it pretty hard, hung on because it started to get a little bit loose, and it recovered and went down through there, and luckily it was enough to get the win. But we're happy. You know, our Goodyear tires, they did a great job. They stuck today, and this Mopar Performance came home a winner. We're happy.
Mikey won that one on his own. Dixon remained in 2nd. Scott Colletta a tenacious 3rd. Bernstein now back up to 4th. Joe Amato rounded out the top 5. A pensive Mike Dunn thinking, oh, it could have been the other way. Our first trip to Topeka in 96, Bob Fry. Joe Amato, about 2 pair before this run by Blaine Johnson, was the first into the 450s with a 459. As Amato was still celebrating in the pits, Blaine whips up an all-time number, the quickest ever, 4.592. I believe I hear the crowd going wild.
They are going wild, and Blaine Johnson up the return road. Joe Amato was back in the pit area, and all of a sudden all the cameras and lights went off and everybody started running to this team. Brother Allen now puts Blaine on the starting line. They would love to back up the record, get some of those valuable Winston points. Gordy Bonin, one of those Canadians we talked about earlier, out of here. Blaine Johnson right down Broadway, 462, backs it up, a new record. That is the baddest car on the planet.
Elapsed time-wise, but watch Scott Colletta. The numbers just keep on coming in qualifying at Topeka. Doug Foxworth in the near lane ran a 488, didn't even qualify. Scott Colletta runs a 463, but look at the speed, 315 miles an hour. the all-time best.
That would set up a pretty good old drag race between Bernstein and Coletta. A lot of smoke off KB's car. He looked like the car to beat this weekend, but he wasn't. Scott Coletta is the two-time champ, finally back in the winner's circle.
My guys did a heck of a job, and I can't say enough about them.
Great job for you and your family and all your crew. 315 miles an hour, the world's fastest drag racer.
He and his father probably have planes that don't go that fast. They have some that go a lot faster. Blaine, Scott, Kenny, Larry, Joey, your top 5.
Scott Coletta starting to smell a third consecutive championship as we move to Thunder Mountain. Bandamere Speedway, semifinals. Eddie Hill, the Benzoil car versus Larry Dixon. Dixon smokes the cars, trying to pedal it. It is too late. Eddie Hill into the final round at 493, 287. Good numbers for the mountain.
And if Eddie wants to become the oldest national event winner in the pro categories, hey, he's over 60. I don't write him, I just read him. All he'd have to do would be to take out the aforementioned Blaine Johnson, the new look Travers tool car. Out of the gate, Blaine, he too strikes the tires. Eddie Hill gets the win.
Well, I think the Lord was with us today, and thanks for Pennzoil for hanging with us through all these lean times like that. But we're having a great time again, and maybe we're back where we need to be for a while.
And pulled a 484 out of the hat for the final.
484. Wow, hooray for our side. Well, I'm loving it. Thank you, boss.
Congrats.
I thought he was going to say, are you kidding me? They always ask you that.
I know, as if I would kid about things like that. Am I not trustworthy? Every time Ursi come down, he always asks her, what'd I run? I already told him, he doesn't believe me. All right, let's slide on down the mountain to Sonoma, California. Kenny Bernstein getting desperate now for Winston points up against Bruce Sarver, the rookie, the CarQuest car on the far side. Sonoma, now more highly regarded than it was before as Bernstein rips a 466 at 309.
Let's credit Bruce Sarver, by the way, one of the great rookie seasons in Top Fuel. Did a great job. Final, Bernstein, Blaine. Bernstein needs the win to keep pace with the Travers tool car. He would not get it. Blaine throws a 467, 306, leaves Sonoma with the biggest lead of the season in Top Fuel points. Also picks up his third win of the year, the first driver to do it. Bernstein did salvage the top speed, almost 316 fast miles an hour.
Celebrate, Blaine.
Looking for that Winston Championship, and he is out in front by a bunch.
And he hoped to extend that points lead when he got to Seattle. But here's a rather interesting ride for Andy Woods. Watch the Montana Express car over there on the right-hand side. A classic example of what can happen when you lose downforce from that rear wing. He was alongside Shelly Anderson. This was round 2 action. Woods had it won. The wing laid down and bad things happened. Good things too. The car held up perfectly. He was fine. Oh, do you need a front wheel? Watch. Stage left. There it comes with a mind of its own. The safety Safari got it cleaned up and loaded up, and NHRA's tech crew instantly looked at the car to see if they could find anything that would maybe bring about a new rule or make for stronger safety. Dedicated to safety, that's been the motto since '55, and it still is.
Dedicated to beating Mike Dunn, that's Shelly Anderson's motto. Watch Dunn's car in the far lane. Couple of wheelies. Gets beat by a couple of wheelies. The top end, Shelly, 466.
Larry Meyer said he'd run quick. We had clutch problems the first 2 runs, and he found it last night, and we really liked that rain, and quickest run of my life.
It was indeed a career best. Kenny Bernstein, now we're back up into second place, pushing Scott Coletta, Larry Dixon, and Corey Mack down 1. Shelly had never run as quick as 466. She had also never experienced what you're about to see. This is Brainerd, Minnesota. Shelly alongside Jim Head. One nasty blowover destroyed that brand new car, but Shelley was so calm.
It started to shake and I pedaled it and it rehooked, it really rehooked, and it went over backwards. The car's junk, but we've got a brand new spare one we brought here for Indy, and the guys will work real hard and they'll get it ready for tomorrow.
Wow, that was nasty. Semifinals, it's the big boys. The Travers Tool car, Blaine Johnson, Kenny Bernstein. Bernstein looking to move up in the points. This is a very pivotal race, and almost 2-in-1 race. Blaine brings it back down. Bernstein gets the win with a brilliant 462. The Bud King looking for his 4th win here at this racetrack. A couple in funny car, a couple in top fuel, and that's the way to do it. Just throw those big numbers up on the board, and Blaine Johnson's car came down hard.
Well, it's been carrying the front end all weekend. You know, we just never really got under control of it. And we hopped it up for that run, and we forgot we didn't put the weight in the front. That was not a good move.
A little too much clutch and not enough weight on the front end.
Yeah, I think we would give him a real good race.
Hated to lose to Kenny Bernstein.
Well, the final saw KB, the king of speed, up against Eddie Hill. Hill smoked the tires. Bernstein down-tuned the car to a conservative 473 at 302 miles an hour to try to take the momentum into Indianapolis. Blaine Johnson came to Indy, the points leader, 11:23 to 10:10. We couldn't have known, amidst the gaiety and celebration at Brainerd, what we would all go through in just 2 weeks at the U.S. Nationals. This was Blaine Johnson's final ever ride. And fittingly, it was the quickest in U.S. Nationals history.
Blaine died from the injury suffered in that run, but his spirit lives on forever, and the outpouring of love and compassion from the racing community and returned by the Johnson family is something that nobody in this sport will ever forget.
They gave us strength throughout the weekend. In round number 1, Tony Schumacher would have raced Blaine. Tony did the drag racing version of a missing man formation as he idled down the racetrack. Little did Tony know that he would make it all the way to the final round in his first ever Top Fuel event. But his luck ran out against Corey McClanathan, who won his 2nd race of the year with a 473.
And I'll tell you what, when I get up there and get that trophy, it's going to Alan Johnson. Blaine, we love you, buddy.
And our prayers and best wishes continue to go to the Johnson family.
Well, from the cheers and tears of Indianapolis, it was a bit of a relief for all of us, including especially maybe Corey McClanathan, to get to beautiful Maple Grove.
The semifinals would put Kenny Bernstein now with that Winston Championship in sight. The racing season did go on against Larry Dixon in the semis. Bernstein winning ugly. He goes 591 at 147 miles an hour, but he got the win light, and that was all important to the Bud King.
Bernstein was determined, if he was to win the championship, to do it with authority, the way Blaine Johnson would have. He didn't want any more lucky breaks. He didn't get one either against Connie Coletta. Bernstein, 467, 305.
Well, again, our hearts are sad, heavy for Blaine. We're doing it for him. He's the angel up above right now watching over us, and I can't help but think he looked at us a little today and gave us a little help.
Great champion and a great man, Kenny Bernstein.
Gave him a little help. He moved into the points lead. He ran 450s that weekend. A great performance by Kenny Bernstein, but still remembering the fallen champion. To the Sears Craftsman Nationals. There's that Bud King again against Mike Dunn, who just won't go away. Mike looking to go into the finals for the 4th time this year. Could he do it? Nope. Blows a lot of stuff up right there. The Bud King gets the win. Mike Dunn would be okay. He is one great driver, and he brings his car to a safe halt at the end of the racetrack.
But who would have thought in the final round we would be seeing Jim Head with Alan Johnson, Blaine's brother, wrenching the car against Kenny Bernstein. Bernstein backpedaled it when he hit the throttle straight up in the air, and Jim Head won his first ever NHRA National Top Fuel event.
He hadn't won any event in 11 years. Bernstein brought it back down to earth, but continues to pull away in the battle for the Winston Championships. Jim Head and Alan Johnson, a very emotional moment at Heartland Park.
I got to tell you, at the Chief Nationals, Shelly Anderson in qualifying just ripped this place apart. Especially on this one. The fastest speed ever, 316 miles an hour, eclipsing Scott Coletta's 315.
She made 4 qualifying runs, as good as any 4 runs we've seen a Top Fuel car put together ever. Kenny Bernstein now in qualifying, trying to keep pace with the leaders. He would be the leader, 460. How about grabbing that top speed mark back? Over 318 miles an hour. Oh, baby.
And Kenny does love to be the king of speed. This is round number 1. Dale Armstrong backing up Kenny. He will race the Texas car of Doug Foxworth.
All the numbers on the scoreboard point to a Kenny Bernstein win. The only number he's concerned about is in the points column. If he won this round, he would clinch the Winston Top Fuel Championship. And he would do just that in typical dominating Bernstein style.
We wanted authority the last 4 or 5 races. Everybody knows that we did it in Blaine's honor, and that's the way he would have done it. And I feel that that's the way we went after it, as hard as this thing would go.
Well said.
Thank you, man. Thanks, guys. All
right. Kenny did not get to the final round. He had won the Winston Championship, but it'd be Corey Mack. It'd be Scott Coletta. It'd be a lot of tire smoke. It'd be Corey Mack.
For the 3rd time in 1996 with a 474 at 301 miles an hour. For Bernstein, it didn't matter about points, but for Corey Mack, Larry Dixon, and Scott Coletta, it did. Look at that, for a lot of Winston season-end money. Kenny Bernstein, the only driver to ever win the Winston Championship in Top Fuel and Funny Car. On to Pomona.
It's the finals, the Budweiser Top Fuel Classic, Saturday at Pomona in the Winston Select Finals. Corey Mack against Scott Coletta. It's been a long year for Scott. It would get a bit shorter right here as he takes out Corey Mack and wins a lot of money from Budweiser.
$100,000 plus NHRA posted a bonus of another $50 if you could double up and win on Sunday. And this was the final round. Scott Coletta, Joe Amato. Whoa, what a drag race, but Amato picked his pocket for the 50 with a 466 at 312.
Just find the nearest good Italian restaurant. Joe Amato will be there.
What a winner we're going to have, Steve. We're going to have a big party tonight.
He's going to go out and mange a little. Maybe not as much as Kenny Bernstein, your Winston champ. Scott sneaks into the 2 slot. Corey, Larry Dixon, and Blaine. And there are the rest of the top 10. Congrats to all for 96.
Dave Schultz, congratulations. You've won your 6th Pro Stock Bike title. John Force, likewise, the Big 6. No one's ever done it before. To Jim Yates, it's got to feel good to win that first one. Kenny Bernstein, you love history. You made some in 96. And to Leslie Lovett and Blaine Johnson, may your legend never fade.
Want the best seat in the house for the hottest motorsports action? Then choose from over 40 spectacular titles in the Diamond P Motorsports Action Catalog. No collection is complete without the hottest selling action video series available anywhere, and They Walked Away. In all 4 And They Walked Away videos, you'll thrill to the awesome power of top fuel dragsters and funny cars unleashed and out of control. The chills and spills of motorcycles, speeding stock cars, and high-flying monster truck mayhem. You'll jump out of your chair with the nerve-tingling adventure of unlimited hydroplane racing included in Atla 4. And in each bone-jarring incident, the driver walked away. Drag racing fans will recapture all the exciting moments of the season in Diamond P's Drag Racing Yearly Review. Relive each year of the Blazing Straightliners from Drag 86 through Drag 95 as NHRA's top drivers compete for the coveted championship crown. Call the 24-hour hotline number on your screen and order from our special series of biographies on some of motorsport's most dominant legends, like drag racing's undisputed record setter, Kenny Bernstein, the king of speed.
You show me someone that enjoys losing, I'll show you someone that's never won. It's that simple.
Meet the force behind the Liquid Oval's most prolific team, Bernie Little, Mr. Unlimited, and his quest to become Unlimited Hydroplane Racing's winningest team with the Miss Budweiser. And the nightmare continues with the man whose every pass down the track is nothing short of an amusement park thrill ride. John Force, still the one, is wall-to-wall excitement as well as candid interviews.
I have all the fear in the world. I have all the respect for this hot rod because it can hurt you.
Still not full? Still craving more action? Then call the number on your screen and get the catalog. Inside, it's full of action videos including the Shake, Battle, and Roll series. The videos that will satisfy your need for gritty, roaring monster truck and mud racing drama, four-wheel and off-road jamboree excitement, and the exciting car-crushing monster truck Thunder Drag series. Want more? You'll find that not every awesome fire, flip, and tumble is unexpected. In Joey Chitwood's 50 Years of Thunder, you'll experience precision stunts and death-defying feats from the most legendary thrill show on wheels. If you're into speed and looking good, then you'll definitely want the best of hot rods too, featuring some of the slickest, tricked-out speedsters, towering 4x4s and slamming and jamming high-performance workhorses, and of course, those thundering hogs. If you're looking to round out your drag racing package, don't miss 40 years of the U.S. Nationals, an in-depth look at the evolution of the sport and its heroes at one of drag racing's crown jewel events. For practical tips and expert instruction on how to make your racing dreams a reality, pick up your copy of From Street to Strip with legendary racer and instructor Frank Holly. Learn the tricks and know-how it takes to become a competitive drag racer. Call the 24-hour hotline number on your screen to order any of these videos and the exciting Diamond P video catalog. Inside, you'll find special action and collector video packages that will fill your tape racks and save you money. Diamond P Sports has been your ticket to the best seat in motorsports for over 20 years. And the whole Diamond P Action Library is at your fingertips by calling now.